Hi guys, my name is Alexandra and I like reading and writing, which is exactly what this channel is about. I have never done the Booktube Newbie Tag and I thought it would be really fun. While my channel is technically 2 years old, I really only did 2 videos and then I kind of abandoned the channel when I got a full-time job. I've kind of rediscovered my love of doing videos and everything, so I thought it'd be really fun to go ahead and do this tag so that you can kind of get to know me a little bit better. So I wrote down all the questions. Well, I think I wrote down all the questions. If I missed one, I'm really sorry. Question number 1, why did you start this channel? So I'll answer this in 2 parts since I started it 2 years ago and then I've recently relaunched it, kind of. So the reason I started it 2 years ago was because I had just graduated from college and I was an English major. I had graduated with my English degree in creative writing and literature, and really I missed talking about books. I missed talking about reading and what I was currently reading and undertones that an author was trying to say in a very specific book. I missed talking about all that to everyone, and I missed talking about the struggles of writing to people. And I sort of stumbled across Katie Tastic's videos in college, but I discovered her writing videos. And then after college, I kind of looked more towards her book side of things. And I loved how on Booktube, it seems small enough so that people could talk back and forth to you. You could hear someone's opinion and then you could talk to them about it in the comments. And I wanted that so badly because it reminded me of college. It reminded me of my friends and just sharing things for the sake of sharing things and having fun about your passion, which for me, my passion is reading and writing. That was initially why I started my channel. But then what ended up happening was I got my first full-time job as I think I was the lead bookseller for the children's department in Barnes & Noble. And then from there, I became a librarian. And the reason I've kind of relaunched this is because I've recently quit my job to try pursuing writing as a full-time career, which is incredibly scary. And I've noticed the exact same void I felt before. In my last job, which I love so much, I was the one who started all of the book clubs at the library that I was last at. I started the adult one, I started the tween one, I started the young adult one, and I ran all of those, and all day long I got to talk about books with patrons and with other librarians. I got to interact with authors and meet lots of authors, and I went from doing that full time to all of a sudden not having anybody to talk to. And it's just really lonely when that's your passion, is talking about books and writing, and you go from interacting with people every single day to no one. And so when I look at YouTube and I watch these videos, I get kind of jealous when people are talking back and forth. I want that. I miss my friends who would talk to me about different books. That's why I'm joining Booktube, is I just miss the conversations about books and writing, and I would like to start that up again. That is the longest answer. I promise I will try so hard to wrap it up faster next time. Okay, number 2, what is something fun and unique that you bring to YouTube? Well, like I said, I think my perspective is unique in the sense that I was the lead bookseller of a major bookstore, but then also I was, like, I'm gonna say librarian in quotes because I don't have my master's degree in library science. You can't technically call yourself a librarian without that, but it's the exact same role, the exact same thing. Instead, I was just called the coordinator. So I was the young adult coordinator, and basically, so my department ran from age 8 all the way up to 18, and that was my entire department. I was in charge of that. So when I approach books, I approach it from like a fun perspective, but I also approach it from like a librarian perspective. I approach it from a bookseller's perspective, and I think I also, hopefully, I approach it from an academic standpoint as well, since that was my entire degree, was literature and creative writing. So hopefully my perspective is different. I'm not really sure. I know I've seen a bunch of YouTubers who are editors or who have been reading their whole lives, or, you know, fill in the blanks. So I think everyone's perspective is just so interesting and unique. Number 3, what are you most excited about for this channel? I think just the friends. I love the community so much. Everyone says that all the time, but it seems really supportive, and it seems like the people who are on this channel want to be on this channel because we're all passionate about one thing, and that's books. Whether we want to be writers together or whether we're all just avid readers and introverts, I personally just feel like I'm really excited to kind of establish those relationships and those friendships again, which I mean, I desperately miss a lot. Number 4, why do you love reading? That's an interesting question. Why do I love reading? I think because reading makes you not feel so alone. Yeah, I think it's because reading makes you feel not so alone. When I was really young, my family and I would move around quite a bit all over America, and I loved it because I got to live in California and Florida and Arizona, Tennessee, all over the South, and all these really, really beautiful, awesome places. But as a kid doing that, the only downside would be that it's very difficult, obviously, to fit in, and luckily I always had great friends wherever I went, so I was really, really lucky. But in the month or two before you kind of establish your close friendships, you are on your own. And so as a kid, I really turned to books as my allies. When I would join a new school and I wouldn't know anybody, it's okay because I had Harry Potter in my backpack, you know what I mean? Or I had Harriet the Spy, or I had Madeline L'Engle's A Wrinkle in Time, or I had the Narnia kids with me. I never felt alone. I would get so wrapped up in the world that it inspired me to daydream. And so when I felt alone and I couldn't read, it's okay because I was already kind of living in my head with these fantastical characters, and it was just a way for me to feel secure and happy and loved. I guess that's why I love reading. To be honest, I've never really thought about it, but that's what I would say. What book or series got you into reading? It wasn't necessarily like a book series. It was more like my upbringing. Growing up, my family, we're all bookworms, so you can't really see all of my office, but I've got probably 800 books just in this room with all of my bookshelves and things. And it's kind of tricky lighting, so I can't, like, there's a little bit of one here that you can kind of see. There's one here, there's one here. The whole closet is full of books. But in my house, we also have a library downstairs, and my dad's office. His is full of more books than mine. My mother has more books than me. We're all very avid readers, which is probably why my degree ended up becoming literature and creative writing. And one thing that we used to do all the time growing up was we always went to libraries and we always went to bookstores. That was our thing. I feel like my passion actually came from my family. It came from the culture of my family and being brought up almost kind of in a bookstore. Even before I could read, my parents were always reading me chapter books and picture books, or my brother, he would tuck me in at night and he was a great older brother. He's so creative, and he would actually spin these intricate, detailed stories to me where I would get to pick like what I would do in the story, and he would say, would you rather scale up the wall or climb in a tunnel? And you know, it was really interactive and cool, and so it always got my imagination going. And so I think from a very young age, I just developed that passion of reading from them and from my family. And I discovered a lot of really, really great authors that way too. Question number 6. What question would you ask your favorite booktubers? Can we be friends? Question number 7. What challenges do you think in starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? My feet are totally asleep. Sitting positions. Can I say that? Okay, yeah, my feet are, I'm not that tall. My feet are asleep. I can't feel my ankles. You know what I think another challenge would be probably is not doubting yourself. I have tried a couple of times to do like book hauls or different tags, and I feel like you always look at your videos and you're like, is this even interesting to anyone but me? But, whatever. Number 8, when did you start reading? Oh, I kind of already answered this. Yeah, from a very, very young age. My mom always wanted me to really appreciate reading and really appreciate literature and books and everything. Question 9, where do you read? I love reading at coffee shops, and I like reading in bookstores as well. Any place with an oversized stuffed chair. So my house is great, and a bookstore is great. I think this is the last one. Question number 10, what kind of books do you like to read? It's kind of hard to nail down my taste. I feel like I'm more of an eclectic reader just because it's like a nice way of saying that your taste is all over the place. I like weird stuff like magical realism, like Gabriel Garcia Marquez's short stories and Karen Russell's St. Lucy's Home for Girls. I love The Time Traveler's Wife. I love Peter Pan and Alice in Wonderland. I basically read anything. There's a couple of things that I don't read as much. I don't read a ton of nonfiction. I don't read a lot of science fiction, but I love fantasy, I love regular fiction, and I don't really care about the age group. If it's good, I want to read it no matter what. Okay, you guys, that was my very first newbie tag. Obviously, oh my gosh, obviously, it's a newbie tag. If you are a newbie as well, please leave a comment so that we can be friends. If you have any advice for me, leave it down in the comments. Or if you have any books that you want to recommend to me, I would love to start reading those. So yeah, thank you guys so much. You have a nice day. Bye. I just thought of a really good challenge too. The editing. Yeah, the editing.